So welcome everyone. Can you all hear me clearly? Good. I thought tonight, a couple of weeks ago, I was at my local group meeting, and we have a similar format where we sit 45 minutes and then we have a group inquiry and people are asked to, any questions they may have or topics they'd like to explore. And in this instance, someone said, well, could you say something about death? And it's not a topic that we talk about very much. And of course, it's not something that's, it's actually, the West seems to have an aversion to it in modern society. Of course, we shunt the elderly people off into homes and all the sort of consumer society is sort of based towards the youth and plastic surgery and all the health. And it's all geared towards this being very active, and we don't seem to have an incredible respect for the elderly like we do, like they do in other countries. And I was just wondering, is that part of this real fear of death? And so when I was asked that question, my response was, well, what is it that dies? And obviously the body dies. The brain, So with the brain probably goes all the memories, thoughts and feelings, the whole construct of self, which is made up of those memories and those thoughts, and all my life's possessions, all my accomplishments, all my past experiences. So this is the loss of life, if you like. And why that is so fearful in a way is because we seem to be always trying to create continuity. So the very construct of self gives us this sense that we are moving through our life and and experiences are happening to me. And I think there's incredible insecurity here, and that's been reinforcing this view that there is some permanent entity there moving through our experience. And then my experiences and my thoughts, my feelings, my memories. So we're continually fabricating this sense of continuity. And of course, we even fabricate continuity into the future with the hereafter, with heaven and reincarnation. Continuing this need to have a sense of us continuing and not there be no ending. So can we see and understand in a way, if you like, the impermanence of things without the need to keep continually fabricating some imagined continuity? Because when we deconstruct the self, as yet we haven't been able to find any continuous self thing. Yes, we have experiences one after the other, and we can bring back thoughts and memories from the past, but they don't validate or prove there is such a thing as a self that is moving through time. So when we look at the idea of life and death, we then create that duality, of course. So we get caught up and we get obsessed then with this duality. So then we get the fear of the death, the fear of the ending, the fear of the loss of all those things that I've acquired. What am I going to lose? I'm going to lose all the connections, all the friendships I've ever made. I'm going to lose everything I've acquired. All the supports, all the memories, all the experiences. So when I look at this fear of death, so what all those things are is I'm losing all the familiar. I'm losing all the known, if you like. Everything I know and feel familiar with, I'm going to lose. And I'm going to enter into the unknown, the unfamiliar. So am I afraid of death, which is the unfamiliar, or am I afraid of losing the familiar, the life? How can I be afraid of what I have never experienced? I don't know what it is. So what are we really fearful of? So we're fearful of, as I say, the loss of the familiar, the loss of friends and family, and all our precious memories. So death has this incredible, powerful force in our life, because it's going to deconstruct everything that I'm holding on to. And all these things that I've been discussing, they're all time bound. I look at life as a continuum from life to death. It moves through time. Thoughts arise and pass away. Feelings arise, pass away. They have a time sequence to them. They move in time. The body moves through time. It's born and then it dies. So everything I'm familiar with is time bound. So everything within that realm, if you like, within that structure of time is going to end. So is there anything, then the next question is, of course, is there anything that isn't time bound? Is there anything that does not die? Is there such a thing as, in a way, is there such a thing as psychological time? Has it been a myth the whole, and a construction and a fabrication always? That in reality, we know of physical time, yeah. But is there anything that remains the same over time? Things change moment to moment. So is there a mind or an aspect of mind or that is free of time? Is it capable of being free of space-time? Are we capable of being free in the sense of not being able to be located, not stuck anywhere, with no centre? We fabricate the idea of the self as the centre of experience. If there is no centre, where are we found? And experience is just expressing itself. The Buddha called this the deathless. He says this is the ultimate truth of things. We have the relative truth that all things arise and pass away, that everything is impermanent. But ultimately, and even modern scientists exploring matter, exploring the cosmos, coming to the same insight. That there is this element, or this way of being that is not bound by time, and it cannot be located. Therefore, there's no centre. Therefore, it's free of birth and death. So, of course, unless I have some understanding or can see into, deconstruct, if you like, this whole relationship to time, then I'm never going to get a sense, if you like, of the infinite nature of things, of the universal nature, or the sacredness of life. But when we do inquire into all those things we take as being me, and as we see how fragile that whole construction is, we're going to the very core, we're going to the very heart, you like, of suffering. I heard an interesting analogy recently where someone said it's like a polluted river, that we can decide we're going to clean that river up. We can spend all our life pulling the rubbish out of the river. But unless we go to the very source, we'll spend all our time and we'll always remain polluted. But if we go to the source, then we can free the river totally of pollution. And the source of all suffering, the source of all fear, all the fear of death, is the construct of self, is the clinging to this time-bound, located, constructed, limited, bound sense. And when we start to see into that, we start to get a sense of the unbounded, that which is not dependent or limited. And it's not somewhere else, it's right here in our experience. The immeasurable quality of life. unconditional love. Consciousness, it's unbounded. Well, we can't have a sense of the limits of things. The mind has this limitless quality. And this is a real sense of the sacred. And this realization and understanding that there's no center here. There's no center to consciousness. This frees us. And then death loses all its meaning. And then life and death are not separate. So inquiring into life is the same as inquiring into death. And it truly awakens the heart mind. Thank you, everyone.